Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Stephanie Nadia. If you're new here, if you're not new here, hey babe. We're going to be doing a how to prepare for graduate school. Everything you have to do up until you start graduate school, everything you have to put in place, the tips, the things that really help me out. If that's something you're interested in, please stick and stay to the end of the video. If you haven't seen my other graduate school videos, I'll probably put a playlist up here, so when you're done with this one, just check out this playlist. It has all the tips I have on applying to graduate school, the visa process, everything. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, make sure to stick and stay to the video. Make sure you're subscribing if you haven't already. Like the video, leave me a comment. Let's get interactive, because that's how the algorithm knows you enjoyed the video. So without saying too much, let's get into the video. Everything I'm going to say in the video is basically what I did or something I know a friend did that is in graduate school right now. Like, it's things that have been tried and tested, things that helped me. If you have these things at the back of your head, if you're planning to start graduate school soon, it's going to really help you out. So first tip we're going to throw in there is to plan ahead. So when I say plan ahead, let me explain. I started toying with the idea of starting or pursuing my master's when I was in level 500. I did a year abroad in China, so I ended up doing 5 years of university. So my 5th year, I started toying with the idea because I was like, what am I going to do with my life after I'm done? So after my 5th year, I went ahead to work at the airport for my national service. There may or may not have been an opportunity to continue working there, but then I thought about it and said to myself, it is a good place to work, but the current economy I was living in, the current economy we were dealing with in Ghana wasn't a good economy for the kind of salary you'll be taking and the kind of life you want to aspire for yourself. I felt like I was settling. I felt like I wasn't doing enough. I wanted to build my CV, wanted to make something out of myself. So I took it upon myself to self-teach myself coding. Apart from the fact that I was self-teaching myself coding, a friend in an IT role working with a company in Canada helped me get a job with a company in Canada. So I started actually practicing like some things I'd learned. I started getting more into IT. It helped me like make my CV look good. It gave me a lot of like experiences. I learned how to use Figma, UX, UI design, product management, all that. So I did finish school as an accountant. I knew how to speak Chinese, and then I worked at the airport. Then I worked with this company. All was towards the plan that I want to apply for graduate school and have my CV looking good, because you would need to upload a CV when you're applying to graduate school. I had to intentionally do these things because I was like, earning in Canadian dollars was a very good thing. It helped me set myself up very good. It helped me book for my plane ticket to come to the UK, believe it or not. So when I say plan ahead, that's what I mean by plan ahead. Be intentional. I was 21 and I was thinking about all the things I wanted to do, so I had to take myself out of my comfort zone. Taking that IT job wasn't something that I was used to. I had not ever been in an IT role. I had to go into it as a learner, fresh, and be on my game. Doing it alongside my national service didn't help much because the stress was pulling me both ways, but the experience was really good. I had a great boss. That going into my CV helped me a lot, because in total I applied to about 10 schools. I wouldn't even lie. I did not apply to Canadian schools because the application fee was quite high, and the time I was doing my applications, I was doing my national service, and that salary cannot even pay one application fee, believe it or not, because it was most Canadian schools I checked out, their application fees were 150 Canadian dollars, and that into Ghana cedis was almost 1,500, like past 1,500, like 1,700 and stuff. So when I say plan ahead, I mean if you want to go to graduate school in Canada, you want to go to graduate school in the US, you want to go to graduate school in the UK, you know our currency and their currency is far apart. So any amount you're going to pay, whether small or big, is going to be a toll on you because of the fact that our currencies are further apart. So you need to plan towards it, whether it be saving, whether it be getting yourself into a non-profit organization, because having those things on your CV help you get admission a lot. I currently volunteer with Because She Can. If you don't know about Because She Can, check them out on Instagram. My friend is the co-owner and I'm super proud of her. It's an organization that helps less privileged people women in the IT world get access to whatever they need. It could be gadgets, it could be laptops, it could be knowledge, whatever. So yeah, so I decided to start volunteering with them, and having that in my CV, at the time where I was applying to schools, I didn't have that in my CV, but having that in my CV now helped me get the job I just currently got. So when I say plan ahead, I mean don't just sit idle. Plan, like behave like someone who has something ahead of you, like take it upon yourself to be good. So if you see a non-profit organization, try to volunteer with them. If you have that in your CV, it's a good start to applying to schools, because your CV would look good. Trust me, if you have a job, like you have a company and you're hiring people, you obviously wouldn't hire someone that looks like after school they sat at home for some time and then just started to apply to schools. You want something to fill the gap. You want to look like you were on your game, right? So yeah. The next tip I'd say is to research your program. Trust me, the applying and then getting a school and then finally getting here, it seems like a sequence, like as something that if you're saying, it doesn't sound so hard, but when you're actually doing the process, it takes a lot of time. It doesn't just happen. Apply to a school, receive response, and then apply for a visa. Like, no, trust me, it takes some time. So when I started researching courses, I was doing a lot of MBA searches and stuff, and MBA is a course that is expensive. Believe it or not, it's not a cheap course, because it's a good course that can get you employment. So I realized that, okay, MBA school fees is too much, and I said, okay, let me look for another kind of course that is in relation to that. So I decided to go into international business. Read about them, watch videos about them, check the school fees, because you don't want to do a course that you wouldn't be able to pay your school fees. The third tip I want to throw in there is to take tests, like relevant tests that would help you have the competitive advantage over other people. Most schools, UK, Canada, US, would ask for some particular examinations when you apply to certain courses so that you have a competitive advantage, because a lot of people apply and that helps them pick you over other people. Such exams are GMAT, I don't know the full meaning, but GMAT, GRE, IELTS. IELTS is an exam to make them know if you're very fluent in English, you're good, like you understand and you can speak English. So these tests, I didn't write any of them, but my sister did write one, and she said it was not easy. So start planning for those tests. It's not cheap too, because those tests normally cost another currency, like dollars. They charge for those courses in dollars, and you have to pay for the classes and pay for the exam itself. You don't know if you would fail or pass, so you need to start writing it early so that you can get the scores. You need them because if you're applying to, let's say we're both applying to a school and then you have first class but you don't have GRE, a good GRE score like the school would want, and I have second class upper and my GRE score is very good, I and you stand the same chance, even though I'm lower than you. On a regular, if I didn't have GRE, you'd be way higher, like you'd be obviously taking over me if they are saying they are choosing between the two of us. But GRE, for instance, would kind of put me on the same level, if not higher. So those exams help a lot. So if you research on them, GMAT, GRE, IELTS, and a couple of others, start looking into them if you want to have the competitive advantage and you think maybe your degree is not enough to get the kind of course you want to do. These exams help you like get on the level you want to get to. The fourth point I want to throw in there is recommendation letters. Start working on getting recommendation letters. UK schools, some of them would ask you to upload a recommendation letter. That is, if you have the fiscal thing, scan it and then upload it while you're filling your application form. But other UK schools, most US and Canada schools would ask you to give them the email of your referee. So they email the referee like themselves and then the referee sends it to them. So if you are planning on applying to UK schools, it's a good thing to go back to your senior high school because they need your SHS certificate sometimes to show that you speak English. I think the worst grade you can get is C6, so you don't have to get like a D or something. I think C6 up to A, it will show that you can speak English, so you don't have to write IELTS for some UK schools. And then recommendation letters for the UK schools, you can get them and then put them down. Let's say you're with a job and then maybe you have in your mind that okay, you would want to apply to the school someday somehow. Before you leave the job, try to get like 2 recommendation letters from 2 of your professors down, just so you can have them. So get them down because they're going to be very helpful in your application process. The 5th point I'd want to let you know is to prepare your personal statement. A personal statement is self-explanatory. Personal statement. statement. Mostly the guidelines to writing a personal statement is to write your background, write what courses you did, what schools you've been to, what jobs you've worked, what ethics you've picked up, what brought about the passion to do this particular master's course. So you can start working on it. So if you want it to be the best, I'd say you tailor it to the course you're applying to. Let's say in some of the schools I applied to MBA, right? So if I say tailor it, you try to say the particular things that would help you get an attention of someone that is admitting MBA student. Let's say you talk about the fact that you worked in a bank, you worked under customer service, talk about the fact that you did accounting, talk about the fact that like those kind of things would catch their eye because MBA is related to those things. If let's say you want to do a course like international business and I'm writing my personal statement, I made sure I mentioned the fact that I'd been to China, I'd studied business in Chinese, I'd also worked with international people I had a drop shipping business. I literally ship things from China to Ghana and sell them either via Instagram or just on my Snapchat. That's a drop shipping business. So I get them to Ghana to the people that wanted them. So that was conducting business internationally because it was different currencies, if you get me. So I made sure to mention all those things because the course I was applying to was international business. So try to tailor your personal statement to the particular course you're applying to. Don't just use one personal statement for every course you apply to. Not every school is going to have the particular course you want to apply to. So if you want to talk about something, you want to apply to a course like nursing, it would be good to mention in the fact that you have a grandmother that you help take care of. Like they just want to see particular traits in you that go in line with that particular profession, if I'm making any sense. So yeah, basically that's what I'm trying to say. The sixth point I'd want you to know is to learn a skill. Just make sure academics is not the only thing you have to offer. I'm sorry, it's hard. I learned how to do lashes, individual lashes. I started a YouTube channel in my 4th year in university. So it makes you not just depend on one source of income. Because let's say, for instance, the corona came right now, your boss says he's laying you off. You will go hungry. So imagine you have a YouTube channel, you'll still be making money off of the videos even if your boss lays you off. That's the kind of mind I'm trying to get at. So try to learn a skill. I have a friend, we were in the same business school together. She learned how to bake and now she's using more of the knowledge to bake to make money than the business administration we did. And I'm sure she's making more money than she would have made if she had a 9-to-5 job, somebody's job. So it's good to learn a skill. The next and very important tip is to research funding opportunities. Funding opportunities could be scholarships, could be loans, get admission, you get an offer. How do you pay your school fees? If you're not everybody can pay £14,000, £16,000, £20,000 or $54,000, 36,000 Canadian dollars. Like master's school fees is not a joke. So you want to research funding opportunities to reduce the load of the finances on you. So let's say most US universities offer something called a graduate assistantship. My sister is using that to fund her education. It's a master's degree, so it's like more of a TA. I think we're used to the word TA, teaching assistant. So you help a lecturer kind of teach his course, I think, and that cancels out your fees and pays you monthly. Give me a better deal than this. Research on those kind of things. If you're applying to a school, research on their funding opportunities. There's graduate assistantships. There are companies out there that offer loans that would pay your fees, and then after you're done and you're working, you can pay them back. Just make sure you have knowledge of all these things so that you're not being cheated, because you'll be sitting in a class with someone that got a scholarship of £5,000 from the same school that you applied to, but because you didn't really research, you just paid your school fees because you didn't have time to research. So do a lot of research on funding opportunities. That is going to be very helpful to you, trust me. Just apply to the school. I know some people attach so much like nerves and anxiety to applying to a school. If the school doesn't give you an offer, apply to other schools. Like this, it's a big deal, but don't make it so much of a big deal that you're too scared to take the step. Just make sure you have all your documents right, and when you apply, you know that okay, you stand a chance, right? I applied to about 10 schools. I didn't hear back from only 2 schools, like 8 schools. I heard back from 8 schools. Yes, so those 2 schools, fine. What the hell? Apply. It's as easy as that. If you get rejections, fine. If you get admissions, all the better. So take the step and apply. Some schools have a very good response time. A school that I applied to in the UK had a very bad response time. I don't want to mention the school's name to spoil their market, but in case you are planning to apply to a school in the UK, Scotland in particular, DM me. If it's that school, I thought you don't go there, because their reply time 3 months, you've not heard from them. Forget about it. The last tip I want to throw in there, this is like a bonus tip, is stay motivated. I'm someone that is very optimistic. Ask any of my friends, don't do a mistake and come and tell me, Nadia, I want to start this business. I'll force you to start a business. We will start the business. That's about everything I have to say. I hope these tips would help you a lot and would motivate you a lot to come and join me, because I don't have any friends. Come and join me, okay? I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching to this point. Bye. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I put the water in the ocean in the city that I'm